Hey, so I'm finally doing that update on the placement guide that I know a lot of people have been wanting, so yeah, let's get right into it. So, firstly, my legend. Green is basically just a very, very good placement, and red is one that's really, really difficult, one that you're going to want to plan for on offense and make sure to put on defense. It doesn't factor in defender tactics because they're changing every season, and also because none of them are very good. Lastly, they are ranked from left to right, not in how good they are. So let's take, for example, node 42. Um, I think almost everybody would tell you that Thing or Invisible Woman is going to be a much harder placement than Mordo in general, but because of Mordo's synergy with the node, and more importantly, because Invisible Woman and Thing work better on other different nodes, such as maybe this one, you're gonna go left to right in terms of how good they are on that specific node because you want to place someone who's good on that node, but maybe not good on other nodes. Like, let me show you another example. For example, we have this Nova. Well, Nova's actually a good defender, so let's take Thor Ragnarok. Thor Ragnarok's a great defender on certain nodes, right? So if you're going to take Ebb and Flow Intercept, or another one you're going to see him a lot on is Stunning Reflect, that's where you place him, right? You want to place him on stuff that is synergy. Okay, so getting right into it, we have Steady Build Up Fury, which should also go along with the second Steady Build Up Fury. The only difference is long distance relationship. So that long distance relationship is going to affect Void, and so that's why Void is only on one. But basically, you're going to see the same thing: Black Widow, Clairvoyant, Man Thing, Silver Surfer, War Machine, and then Sorcerer Supreme and Angela both work. Yeah, I'd really never place Angela, but if you're going to, place her on this node. Um, War Machine is a really good option, and I'll tell you why when we go to the second set of steady unblockables. Or that's the second set, the second set of a steady build-up. So moving on to Ebb and Flow Knockdown. Let me find the other Ebb and Flow Knockdown really quick. It's right here. So we've got Hitmonkey, Darkhawk, Mordo, Nick Fury, Domino, Rogue, Daredevil, Hell's Kitchen, Emma Frost, and Jabari Panther. Those are going to work for every single one, but there are specific instances why I want them on certain nodes. For the Ebb and Flow Knockdown is just by itself. Hitmonkey, Darkhawk, Domino, Rogue, Jabari, pretty standard. The heavy hitter one is where it gets interesting. Hitmonkey is really really good. Mordo because he's always throwing those heavy attacks, and it's going to be unblockable, so that's annoying. It's the same rationale with Nick Fury. Emma Frost, when you're always trying to parry, the heavies are going to be quite annoying, and it's pretty quick, so maybe it'll catch you. Um, and then Daredevil Hell's Kitchen, just probably to piss people off, is pretty much what it is. Um, but also because he shrugs it eventually, and that heavy attack, that one's an iffy placement, but I just wanted to throw in some unique ones because uh, it's pretty much the same node, and so it's good to give different ideas for diversity and whatnot. Okay, so moving on, we have Aggression, Fury, and Strike Back. Basically, the idea is people who you have to play slow, and the basic idea is I'm going to make it so you play me slow, and then if you mess up, you're going to die. And so something like Mojo, if you're trying to avoid or bait out a special attack or something, and all of a sudden he's at 4 Aggression Furies and he procs a degen, that's going to be really, really bad. Just like if you're trying to bait out Magic's special attack and all of a sudden she procs Limbo, you're probably dead as well, right? So that's a really good thing. Tiger with Strike Back, the Strike Back enables her a chance to get to the special 2, although it's unlikely. And basically, because you're always trying to bait special attacks, that Aggression Fury is going to be pretty deadly. Strife, the reason why this is difficult is because the special 2 is hard to dodge, and more importantly, that special 1 is often going to give. Not often. It's going to give the invisible and the miss, and so it forces you to bring a direct counter. Lastly, thing, basically the idea is, say you're trying to bait out a special 1, and you go all the way to the corner, you dodge a special 1, and then he hits you with the heavy, you're kind of toast. So basically, you're gonna see a theme with this, and the theme is I look at champions whose counters are countered by the node. I don't know if that's too convoluted, but so if you were to say take someone like Mojo, as I just said, you want to slow play him, and so I bring in a node that makes it really difficult to slow play, like Aggression Fury, Kinetic Transference, Aspect of Evolution, Buffet, etc. Um, we have Vigorous Assault right here, and Tigra for the same reason. Basically, you're going to be backed up really quickly. That double medium can catch you in the corner, special attacks and whatever. Mr. Negative, the inverse controls and all these other things, he's just going to make it a really difficult fight, and he has a lot of stuff going in his kit, and so it's going to be quite difficult. Sasquatch, basically the idea is to back the attacker into the corner, and then those unblockable heavy attacks are going to potentially mess you up, and so that's the idea there. Spider Ham, kind of the same idea. You get back in the corner, and if you ever did the Spider Ham and Gauntlet, you know that heavy is incredibly fast, and so, I mean, that could be an issue, definitely. Um, and then Darkhawk, for obvious reasons, he procs his own regen as well. The heavy attack, I mean, that's not really that difficult. The special one is going to be quite irritating. Um, so yeah. The next one is I already Strike Counter Fury. So we have Armor and Mystic Ward. Heavy Hitter is kind of a big one here as well. Um, Venom, Sentinel, Mr. Sinister, Nova, Man Thing. So essentially, you're going to see that Nova is a difficult placement, but we want him on the intercept nodes. Armor is going to be difficult because with Mr. Sinister, you traditionally do not want to hit crits, and so crits are the normal way to bypass armor, as it is difficult to Mystic Ward them away, um, or Mystic them away due to Mystic Ward. The other option, Sentinel, as you build up his charges, he's harder to crit, so it's the same rationale as Mr. Sinister. Punish non-crits and make it hard to crit. And then Venom, you can't nullify his buffs, and then also the heavy attack could help push you back as well. Man Thing, same idea, you can't crit him. So moving on to Power Bond and Kinetic Transference. Basically, I'm just playing the Kinetic Transference because Power Bond is basically useless. So Punisher, spam special attacks back to back to back. Same with Green Goblin. Mojo, most people remove Dex, and so blocking gets punished really easily. Psycho Man as well with the block, making it so it's harder to parry, as well as the special attacks can be difficult in Ebony Maw with the mediums that cannot be parried. Um, then we have the buff imbalance power drain set, which is right here. So the first one on the first node is it's a return policy, and then the next one is Blood in the Water, and so I'm going to play to both of those. So the return policy is Vision Arcus. For either of these nodes, Warlock is really good. The reason why Warlock is after Vision Arcus, but red, is because Warlock ought to go on the other one. But Vision Arcus Warlock, and then a couple other Cosmic Champions, followed by the other node, which is Warlock and Void. Void for the Blood in the Water. Basically, the idea is that you cannot nullify any buffs, and the buffs are just going to keep stacking up and causing you to lose power. And Airwalker and Terrax apply those armor breaks, so that makes it irritating as well. So now we have the Shifting Hazard set, which is right here. So Schadenfreude or Schadenfreude. For Shifting Hazards, Schadenfreude, we have Professor X, just because Shifting Hazards could be irritating with him. Basically, these two are very similar. The only difference is Power Focus 1, really. So I try to put all the Power Focus 1s on the Shifting Hazard one that correlates. So Havoc, Korg, Airwalker, Psycho Man, and Elsa. Whereas the other one is all the ones that don't care about special ones. So Professor X, Medusa, MODOK, Spider-Ham, and Thing. Spider-Ham and Thing and all these other ones basically just make it so you have to have a really niche counter and different playstyle. So Power Focus 1 is kind of the same idea that I've talked about with Power Focus 1 before. Magic, and it gives you a chance to get to Special 2 with the Power Alternator. Black Widow Deadly Origin for the evades. Dormammu for just having to continually bait that out. Psycho Man and Tigra for the same reasons as I put them before. Essentially just keep baiting special attacks. And then we have Masochism here. Just standard Masochism. So Mysterio, Professor X when he's going in Falter mode. Dormammu could be an irritating placement as well here. Strife, Invisible Woman. It's pretty standard stuff for Masochism. Aggression Armor. This one is a completely wasted node, and you can tell by the garbage placements on it. Ant-Man and Nightcrawler, just because Ant-Man already gets hit so weak, and Nightcrawler is going to build up a lot of armors. Same with Spider-Man Classic. Sasquatch, maybe it'd be harder to kill him, but I wouldn't waste him on this node. And maybe Omega Red, just make it harder to kill him, ideally with suicides, but yeah, this node is useless. Power Bond Matador, same kind of idea. I just put a whole bunch of annoying defenders, but it's also kind of a wasted node. So now we're moving on to Strike Counter Fury, the mini boss node, and that would be Stealth Spidey. I don't know why he gets kills every single war, but he does. And then the other ones could be helpful as well. So Bishop or Ebony Maw, Emma Frost, and whatever. The theory with Bishop is that if you mess up, the Incinerates are going to do a ton of damage. The special 2 into block and all that stuff. Ebony Maw, same kind of idea. It's a lot harder to hit him and all that stuff. And then if we take the Shifting Hazards one, oh, I also skipped the Steady Build Up Fury. This one right here. So the heavy hitter, the Section 2. So that one would be Iron Man Infinity War and Havoc, basically, because you can't intercept their heavy attack, and their specials are really annoying and take time. It's pretty basic right there. The difference between Iron Man and Havoc and War Machine and Guardian is that these two don't have annoying heavy attacks. I was also thinking Mysterio just because he always does heavy attacks, make it kind of annoying. Never tried it, but it could work. This is a new node, Shifting Hazards, Section 1 mini boss. So I don't know why I put Venom here, just because he backs people in the corner, maybe. So I put him there so it can back people into the corner and make it a little bit harder for them to. They have to bring a double immune, because if they're playing to only one set, it's going to be quite difficult because he's going to back them into the corner. Dormammu is kind of the same, but a little different. You're going to have to bait special attacks, and between baiting special attacks, special attack ones, and hitting in the right section, it could get really confusing. Hulkbuster is anti-ghost and a couple other things as well. Blood in the water, that shock, even if you're immune to it. I mean, not immune to it. Even if you don't have like resistance, even if you have resistance rather, you're still gonna get hurt by that. Killmonger just to back you up, and Elsa just so you have to bring a mutant, and then hopefully get backed up. I mean, pretty much the most part, it's gonna be counter the counter and back people into the corner. And then the Section 1 final fight, which is node 22, it's Power Stack. Dr. Doom is a really, really good placement on that. Jabari Panther, for the same reason as I'm going to place her on Buffet, which is that she basically cleanses parries, and then you dash back and she's going to get more power. Dragon Man, Mole Man, and Ebony Maw Longshot are all good on this node, but I highly suggest Dr. Doom here. Okay, moving on to Section 2. We have got Mixmaster with Aggression Prowess and Power Focus 1. Apocalypse is really good here. For a lot of these, you're going to see Apocalypse is good, even for the node. So there are a couple places to play Apocalypse. Terrax could be good. Domino and Nick Fury could be good. The problem is Terrax can be countered by Sorcerer, a couple other things, just many people. Mainly Terrax is a skill fight and not a counter fight. Apocalypse, I've seen done with Warlock, although personally I'd prefer Sorcerer. Sorcerer can do Domino, and then Nick Fury is just Archangel or anything else. Korg, but Korg is really standard. There are many ways to counter Korg, and that's been around so long that everybody has at least 2 people in each battle group who can take care of that. So it's good to mix it up. Just because the fight might be slightly harder on paper, it's more important that it's unusual. Okay, so Section 2 original mini bosses, leading up to each little pod rather, and that's Emp Modification. They added Aspect of Evolution and Bubble Shield, and it already had Burden of Might. I like Mole Man there because the special one you dash back, and well, that would be really bad. You also can't hit into his block to back him up, and so it makes spacing really difficult, and or you get shocked a lot, so you'd have to bring a shock immune. Probably I would assign Havoc for this fight, maybe Ghost, but Mole Man is an annoying one. Thing, for the same reason, you can't really bait out special attacks, and so essentially you're trying to bait out. You'd have to bring in another shock immune. All these fights force you to bring a shock immune instead of play around the node. Mysterio, um, same kind of general idea. Nick Fury and Ebony Maw pound into the block. Nick Fury with Bubble Shield is really annoying. That special one can immediately eat up all of your block proficiency. and Ebony Maw if you miss the parry. Not even miss the parry, if you parry a medium. Then we have Footloose and Kinetic Transference, and more importantly, Force of Will. This is one of the most annoying fights on the entire map. So we've got Apocalypse here. The only counters are Magic and Special 2 and just Power Lock, and Tigra, but he has to be really aggressive. That's a really, really annoying fight. Warlock with a Special 2 boost as well, or Power boost and Special 2. I'm an Infinity War. Essentially, the idea is that when you get to the last phase, he's just going to be throwing specials and going unstoppable and unblockable, and there's nothing you can do about it. Unstoppable and evade, not unblockable. That could be countered by either bypassing it with something like Hyperion. Magic wouldn't work, so maybe Torch if you got lucky and slow played it and got a lot of plasmas, or Magneto. And then Havoc there, just because Crumbling Armor, Footloose, Kinetic Transference could make an annoying Havoc fight, but it wouldn't be that difficult. And then Void for the Crumbling Armor and Footloose. Domino, Nick Fury just to be annoying because they're really good defenders, but once again, better used somewhere else. Encroaching Stun. We've got Havoc because basically spamming special ones. Spider Ham because you're either gonna have to throw a special one and get stunned. I'm gonna throw a special one and get power stung or get stunned. Bishop because lots of special spam there, and Power Reserve is gonna make it really annoying because all of his special attacks are bad. Daredevil Hell's Kitchen, the theory is that with Power Reserve, Special 1 is going to eat up so much time that there's a very good chance you get stunned. Archangel could bulldoze this fight. But if that doesn't happen, basically what's going to happen is he's just going to Special 1 and you're just going to be sitting there and you can't throw a special to get rid of it. So, that's good there. And then we have Strife. Strife is just throw the Special 1 and then he goes kind of invisible, so that's a good one as well. Okay, so now we're moving on to real section 2, and we have the unblockable nodes. Mr. Fantastic for the evade one, and Spider Ham for the evade one, and then our normal ones, Man Thing, Black Widow, Clairvoyant, Silver Surfer. Crumbling Armor, Havoc for obvious reasons, that one gets a lot of kills. Void for obvious reasons. War Machine's really good for unblockable because that special one triggers suppress through block, and so the last 2 hits will automatically connect no matter what happens, unless you shrug the debuffs or phase the attack or something. So that's going to be a really annoying one, and definitely something that you should consider placing on one of the steady build up unblockables. The only reason he doesn't go on the other one is because you want to put an evade on the other one. That's the only reason. And then Man Thing and just Annihilus just because as well. And Annihilus isn't on it for the same reason as before with War Machine. You want the evade on that one. So Rage, and you're going to see similar ones on the Rage mini boss, but essentially Domino and Guardian, because they're really irritating. Followed by Professor X. Hopefully, Rage could work really well with his small health pool and his Falter mechanic. Magic, for the same reason as Aggression Fury. If you start hitting her hard, her limbo will be harder. And then Spider Ham and Ebony Maw, because they have to be slow played and have very damaging effects in their degen and they are power stings. So I would consider Ebony Maw on this node, definitely. I think that could be a really good one, especially if Domino's on the mini boss. Okay, Ebb and Flow Intercept. We've got Nova and Thor Ragnarok, super standard. I bet a lot of people just Magneto their way through it or Falcon it. MODOK can be annoying, especially because he has extra ability accuracy, so Falcon and Magneto are going to be harder to do. Invisible Woman and I-Bomb, even though they got rid of some of the redoubled nodes, all of them, that Sadist is still going to be annoying, and I-Bomb would still be difficult. Someone could just ghost it, though. Mighty Charge, Nova, Thor Ragnarok, Invisible Woman. Killmonger can just shrug the armor breaks, that's the theory. And yeah, so basically just try to have the node counter the attackers for any given fight. For Vigor, once again, kind of a wasted node. Basically, just people you have to slow play so they can get health from Vigor. Very useless node. Strike counter. This one is combat power rate, and this one is unhelpful. Not a very good node. We've got Guardian, Thor Rags. The only good placement here is Thor Ragnarok because Thor Ragnarok, like, you have to cancel his power gain with a special attack, and so it forces you to play into the node. Um, I mean, it's just not really that good of a node. It's pretty useless, but you can go ahead and look at these options. Yeah, but just not that helpful. Chitinous Thorns, Super Scroll is a really, really good one. He's going to give you the bleeds. Then Guardian, you could just doom that though, maybe, but like Ghost. Um, Guillotine, Silver Surfer is a really good one because people won't know it. It's an armor up. And then Heimdall, just put that there. Don't place Heimdall, please. Spite, Strife for the same reason, that special one, followed by that waiting period. And in theory, if you don't bring a missed counter, even if you do, just cycling special ones can be quite irritating. Same with Havoc, his specials are really long. Hyperion, because you'd have to bait specials, but that could be easily solved with Doom or Magic. Immortal A-Bomb. So if you're trying to dodge the special one instead of taking it in a block, he's basically going to start cycling special ones. And then same with Void, if you're trying to either bait a special one or trying to play to the 10-hit combo meter thing, you'd gain power. So there you go there. We have our buff Imbalance nodes. Let me snag the other one right here. So Howard the Duck, because he gains so many different buffs, especially when stunned. Um, Civil Warrior for the same reason, and he's immune to Nullify. Mordo for the Divine Barrier, for the buff and balance, for all that good stuff. Same with Super Scroll. For the other one, Rich Get Richer is why I put a Nihilist there. Magneto, Heimdall, Super Scroll, all that good stuff. Super Scroll is very useful, and I would suggest ranking one. Okay, so for the window of opportunity nodes, One Eye Open is generally the more difficult one, and a lot of people love placing Spider-Gwen on that. You can also place someone like Magneto for the constant heavy attacks. Guillotine can be placed on both because she has the immunities, and also she has the miss. So the miss is what's going to make her annoying for One Eye Open. Immunities are what's going to make her annoying for Empowered Immunity. Also with the miss, though, that too. Dragon Man for One Eye Open, basically also with immunities. Tigra, this one's untested, just the theory of get back into the corner. Going down to the second window of opportunity node, you've got Hulkbuster, Thing, Dragon Man. You can play Guillotine. Essentially, just try to punish people for taking care of immunities. We've done the steady build up unblockable, and I believe we've done the intercept as well. And so we're going to move on to power focus. This one's actually a pretty difficult node as well. Mojo's good because it forces people to just take the special 2 into the block. Mr. Negative for the same reason. He just hits really hard. And then they're going to have to block it or dodge it with like some weird inverted controls on and off. So that could be annoying. Mangog because it's impossible to dodge that special attack. Terax because he's always going to be in Rock Field. And Emma Frost in case for some reason you catch a noob not knowing how to play well. The second Ebb and Flow Intercept, this one's a mini boss. No idea why it's noted that way, but it's fine. Ebb and Flow Intercept is the same deal, except in this case you're going to have used the other Ebb and Flow Intercepts already, and since this is a shared fight, basically you want to strand people on paths. And so there's a shared fight, so we just do some Crumbling Armor nonsense, so that's Void or Thing with the Mighty Charge and the Intercept. Vision Arcus, basically because he's going to be throwing specials so often that it's going to be hard to get an intercept, a safe one. Invisible Woman, just because she's annoying, and then Apocalypse, also because he's annoying. And then also, these are all anti-ghost, somewhat, because of Crumbling Armor, somewhat. And then we've got the two buffet nodes, and these are some of my favorite. So, Korg and Hyperion for the first buffet node, and that's just because baiting out Korg and baiting out Hyperion is going to be really irritating. Dancing around, you're going to get punished a lot. Counters to Korg would be Human Torch Flame On, Havoc with the spare, Ghost, a couple others. Hyperion is Torch with a pre-fight, Doom Unawakened so he doesn't steal the power gain, a couple other things. Jabari Panther for the same reason as I put her on the Power Snack, basically just she shrugs parries, and so you have to dash back. I put Immortal Hulk because when he is dying and unblockable, you're gonna have to dance around and Buffet will get you. And then Apocalypse just because Apocalypse and Buffet, like what what could go wrong. And then this next one, the main difference is it has Chitinous Thorns, and so I try to play to that. So Super Scroll with the annoying specials and trying to bait the special one mixed with bleeding. So Super Scroll's really good there. Hulkbuster for the Chitinous Thorns. Buffet could be annoying as well. Hyperion for the same reason as before. He doesn't play the Chitinous Thorns, nor does Korg or Thing, but Guardian does. And then we've done this one already, so Explosive Personality. Mordo, because when he's in his power gain mode, he's always blocking, and also heavy-handed could also be irritating there. And then we've got Hulkbuster, because for each armor up, he reduces ability accuracy. Guardian, because he can auto-block special attacks. MODOK, because he auto-blocks all the time. Invisible Woman, because you have to hit into a block to get rid of miss. And Thing, because you hit into block to make rock field, or rock stacks. And so that's irritating there. Aspect of Evolution and Kinetic. Mojo, for the same reason as before. Can't dex, so just, it sucks. Bishop, for the same reason as before. Kinetic Transference mixed with Bishop is going to be a really, really irritating time for everybody, and I really like him on that node. Annihilus, just, it's hard to parry, but any decent player can sidestep him, so don't play him there. Ebony Maul, hit into block, and you can't parry his mediums, and then he'll degen you. Vision Arcus, I mean, it's mostly for the aspect of evolution, but Bishop there is going to be really good, and that's who I'm going to be placing there. Rich Get Richer, we've already done that. We've done Window. So last one is this one, which is the Section 2 mini-boss of the third pod. And that's Kinetic Transference, Feat of Indestructible, which is basically just they get indestructible when you hit 2 bars of power. That's just going to be Thing, Annihilus, Apocalypse, Havoc, and Bishop. Havoc or Bishop or Apocalypse they're good there. The only reason they aren't higher is because I like them on other nodes more. But this node got a lot worse when they got rid of Powerful from Afar. But yeah, this is still pretty good. Consider throwing on like an Annihilus or a Thing or whatever. Now we're going on to bosses. I'll just start with the real boss because why not? The real boss is one of the worst nodes on there actually. Doctor Doom just hit through block really hard. You cannot ghost him anymore, which is a huge benefit. Nick Fury, same, just hit really hard. He has that Fury in his second life. Terrax, he's just annoying. There's no really reason for that besides him being annoying. Mojo, just take damage in a block, but that's torchable, and MODOK. So that's Nick Furyable. MODOK, I don't know why nobody Nick Fury's MODOK. Maybe because the special one can immediately kill you, but I would suggest Nick Fury or Doom. Okay, moving on to these other ones, we have Rage and Return Policy. So we've got Arcus, because when you nullify his power gains, he's going to get power. But that can be cheesed by Doom. So, preferably not that. Annihilus is really good. Domino is phenomenal here. Domino is one of the best placements here. And then Apocalypse. Actually, Apocalypse got much better because I've taken this with Tigra. Even though Rage is not affected by ability accuracy, because you're never blocking, it does not matter. So Apocalypse is really good here. You can still counter it with Guardian and probably Guillotine, but it's good. And then finally Hulkbuster and Guardian. But Annihilus and Domino here are going to be really good. Shifting Hazards, Stun Immunity. Apocalypse can't be ghosted. Perfect, although you could probably just torch it with a Flame On. Killmonger, really, really annoying here. Can't ghost it either, so maybe CGR and play half the time. Omega Red, play half the time. Not a good. It'll be a difficult fight. Killmonger is really good here. Same with Terrax, for a lot of the same reasons. Void, just because it's shifting hazards, and so it'll double punish you if you actually mess up. And Dragon Man, although this one can't be quaked or ghosted anymore. But Torch would still work, but that's actually a better fight now that they got banned. And by when I'm talking about banned, every single fight here, you cannot miss and you cannot evade. And so Ghost, Tigra, and Quake are generally off the table. The only one who isn't fully off the table is Tigra, and that's only for heavy countering and stuff like that. So now we have Vigorous Assault. They added Safeguard here, which is kind of fun. So Guillotine can't be quaked anymore, but can still be torched. Mr. Sinister, he's always going to be regenning, and so he's going to be unblockable a lot. But that's just like Warlock or something. Sasquatch, Torch, Punisher 2099. He has that The theory is that he gets low and he gets that long regen, and the regen's pretty long, and then he just special ones you in the face, and you just have to deal with it. Green Goblin and Gulk, I wouldn't suggest it, but they both heal, and they both have annoying mechanics. Then you've got Hurt Locker, Power Focus 1, and Unblockable First Hit. So you've got Nick Fury, uh, even though that first hit's easy to dodge. Apocalypse, first hit easy to dodge. But basically, they're spamming Special 1, and you just have to have fun with block damage. Bishop, same idea as before, spam Special 1, except the first hit, I want to say, is actually a projectile, so you're kind of screwed there. Eye Bomb, hopefully you can catch them, because that Special 1 can be hard to evade sometimes. And you can't ghost him, so that's always a huge benefit. Lots of options for this last one. Tiger for the spam special 1 and back him into the corner. Sasquatch for the same reason. And same for every single one of those 4, actually. Spam specials, get him in the corner. And then we done the boss, so we have right wing. The right wing is also a really, really difficult node. Stunning Reflect is really irritating, so Tirax is phenomenal there. That's a Black Widow fight or a Tiger fight, but preferably Black Widow because she's safer. Killmonger there as well. You can CGR it, but you don't get Special 2 Burst. It's just playing slowly. MODOK and Thor Ragnarok are both Magneto fights. Thing there is definitely a Tiger fight. Dragon Man, I don't know who I'd maybe Torch. But yeah, definitely Terax and Killmonger, and look into that one. I do Terax only because you want Killmonger on shifting hazards. And then we have Aspect of Evolution. Super Scroll needs to be awakened for this one for him to benefit from the improved power gain. Sorcerer Supreme, you probably see that a lot. Iron Man Infinity War, his armor ups are going to give him even more power. Mojo prompts more power. Hyperion, more power. Same deal. But Sorcerer, Super Scroll, IMIW. Finally, we have Limber, Best Defense, Brute Force. One of the interesting ones you can consider playing here is Thing. He cannot be ghosted, and the Brute Force when you're trying to bait specials could be annoying, but I didn't put him on the list. Invisible Woman gets a lot of kills here, mostly because of Limber, maybe Brute Force as well. Spider-Gwen, Domino, Spider-Ham, and Mr. Fantastic all play the best defense. And they're all quite annoying. So, overall, I hope I gave you a lot of different options to think about for different node placements. Try to make sure that they're as hard to counter as possible, and hopefully your champions can get a lot of kills, because the tactics certainly aren't helping. So yeah, alright, thank you for watching.